I know you understand that niggas ain't perfect, but we try, Lord. We try to keep our heads up in bad times. This is a bad time. Show us the way. And if you can't show us the way, then forgive us for being lost.
All right, we got Omar Gooding with us. Hey man, salute to you. Very, very honored to have you on our show. I just want to get right into it. Start from the beginning. How long have you been an actor? How did you get into acting? And how did you make your way all the way to Wild and Crazy Kids to start off?
Damn. Well, that's all. That's like all the beginning in one question.
So wait, was that your first? Was that your first gig, the Wild and Crazy Kids?
That was the gig that allowed it to become a career,
right,
for me. You know,
yeah.
I started. Let's see, I'm 47 now. Damn. I had to say, damn. Right. I started when I was 9.
Oh wow, okay.
Right, I had a brother. Well, I still have a brother. I have 2 of them actually.
Right.
One of them is an Oscar winner.
I think we know one of them.
You know what I mean? And he was already in the biz. You know, he had started out like he knew what he wanted to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's 9 years older than me. Right. So if I say damn to my age,
right? Yeah, of course.
So you know, 18, 19 years old. He was taking the lessons, going to classes,
right,
the workshops, and really doing what he had to do. And me, I just was with him, hanging out with my big bro, and he sent me into his agent's office to pick up a script one day for him.
Okay.
And his agent, shout out to the late great Corley Jr. In North Hollywood. She had her office out there, and I just ran in, and I said, I'm here to pick up some paperwork for my brother.
Right.
And she just kind of liked my energy, you know.
Right, yeah.
She's like, wow, you're well spoken and you're bright, and 9. You know,
right, of course.
Like, you ever think about being an actor? I was like, not really. Not at all, actually. But it's kind of funny because there was a show back in the day called Star Search.
Oh, of course. Mm-hmm. I remember
Star Search, right? And they had a kids Star Search section.
Right, I remember
watching it. I swear, very vivid. I remember this. I remember sitting and watching these kids, and it was 2 kids, and they were both 2 white kids, and they were sitting at a table across from each other, and they were like, "This is the acting portion." And the kid's like, "Hi, I'm blah blah blah. Nice to meet you." Da 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 blah 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 and scene. And I was like, "That looks easy as hell."
Right.
I remember thinking that, like, that's it. That's acting, And then I don't know, weeks, days, whatever it was later, I'm standing in front of this theatrical agent. She asked me if I ever thought about being an actor, and I was just like, not really, but I did remember seeing him on Star Search the other night. She goes, how funny. Well, I would love to send you out on some auditions and see if I can get you some work. And I was like, sure, why not? So
of course
I begged my mom, and because first she was like, no, that's your brother's thing, like, you're not worried about school, like, what?
Yeah.
And finally she gave in, and she said, all right, well, why not, let's see. So I went on 2 auditions in one day, first time out. The very first audition was terrifying. It was some big, huge, high-rise building. Who knows what it was for? And I blew it. It was just scary, terrible.
Of course.
The second audition was like an hour or 2 later, and it was at a house off of Chandler Boulevard in North Hollywood. It was crazy, and it was real comical. A bunch of kids running around and throwing footballs around and just kind of being loose. And I read the script, memorized the lines. I walked in there, nailed it, and I booked it.
And that was that was the show.
2 auditions in one day. No, this was for a show. It was an industrial film.
Oh, okay.
Like an educational film for schools and whatnot. McGruff the Crime Dog. And it was
I remember McGruff. Maybe I'm older. I love that. I'm older than I thought I was. I remember, yeah.
And that was the first thing I booked. And then like my first major, because I did kind of do like some extra where I had like some featured extra jobs on Monsters Today and Blossom and stuff like that. And then Webster was my first speaking role.
Okay.
My first speaking role. And that was fun because that's when I learned kind of like the secret to auditioning. You have to be creative. You have to stand out. You have like the audition room full of all these different people
Of course.
who look like you. They dress the same. They read the same breakdown as you. What are you going to do to stand out? So the audition was for an announcer. The episode of Webster, it was like one of the last episodes they filmed. It was the Web Touchables, where it was like the Untouchables, but as kids, we
Right.
all had
Yep.
like mustaches on, and and the grown-up suits, like we're gangsters shooting pies, little machine guns, but shoot pies at them, like you know what I mean.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
of
just
course.
played the announcer. Yeah, so I played the announcer at the club for the audition. I walked in, I remember the beginning of it was, and now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sammy Club. Right? And I was like, what am I going to do to stand out? So I took a microphone, I had a real microphone with a cord and everything, and stuck it in my pocket. And right at the beginning, I pulled the microphone out, the cord hits the floor, and I'm like, and now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the So, they're rolling on the floor, laughing and loving. I booked it, and that was like my big break. But, we had been going through a lot as a family. My father, who was a singer as well, Cuba Gooding, senior of the Main Ingredient. In the 70s, he was a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Love the Main Ingredient.
Yeah, man, he was a big deal. And then he went out to Africa during apartheid, came back and was blacklisted for going out there.
Oof, yeah.
So everything dried up, lost a lot of money, houses, all that. So we had to kind of start over.
Right.
Now, my mother and father were born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx. My brother and sister were born in the Bronx, right? And then when they were 5, my sister was 5. She's 10 years older than me. We moved to California. And then 5 years later, I was born.
Okay.
About 5 more years later after that, that's when my father lost everything. He kind of went back to New York, where we stayed out in California. And we lived with my mother's parents, my grandparents. And we stayed with them for a while until my grandpa was just like, look, you got to do something with these kids. You get on the road. Your husband, if he ain't coming back, you got to find your own way.
Right.
You're young and Cuba wants to be an actor. Well, let's, hit the road. So we literally lived in our car for a few years. And we were homeless for a while. So when my brother had just started out, and I was starting out, my mom was working 2 jobs, and I was like, I got to get her to quit this job. So I got an audition one day for Wild and Crazy Kids.
There we go.
And I knew I had to, I was like, this is my break. This is my chance to get my mom. She can quit. She can become my full-time manager, and I can support, her and my sister while my brother's off, trying to be a star in his own right.
Right.
And yeah, man, it was a cattle call, which means thousands of kids went out for this thing.
I bet, yeah.
And I was the one black kid with all the energy, and they're like, I got to get this, what I mean? Reading these lines and talking proper and speaking correct English and being able to read all these lines, you know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I was able to nail that, man, and then, the rest was just history.
That's awesome.
What was it like seeing yourself on the big screen for the first time?
Let's see. When was the first time I was like, holy crap, I am on the big screen? It was probably when I booked, which was another fun story. I got the chance to work with Bill Cosby in a movie called Ghost Dad.
Oh, I love that movie. I forgot about it, and then I was looking up your stuff.
I've had a lot of stories about the auditioning process, which was interesting. I remember the director was Sidney Poitier.
Legend.
Sidney Poitier had us. I was in the audition room, not just like the waiting room, but inside. He had me doing all these exercises and crawling around on the ground, and peeking around the table and doing all this for like 30 minutes. It was insane.
Right.
It was such a long audition that when I left, I was like, I know I booked that, And I remember telling I think my sister took me on the audition, and I told her everything about it, and how long and interesting it was, and how excited I am to be working with Bill Cosby. And I just knew I booked it. And my manager was my mom. She had quit. And she said, I just got the call. You didn't get the part. And I said, wow, really? With all that auditioning and they had me in there? She said, yeah, it seems odd to me too. I'm going to call them directly.
Oh, man.
Like, who does that?
Mama called.
And I swear to you, she called the casting agent and said, yeah, my son auditioned this and that. Or my client. She never said son.
Right.
My client called and you guys had him in there for 30 minutes. And we're just curious to see, some feedback on why he didn't get the role. And they had a discussion, whatever the case was, and they were like, yeah, we'll bring him back in one more time to do a test. Believe that? I went in and auditioned one more time and then booked the damn thing. Like, what? Like, it's insane. Like, there's been other instances like that. I can go forward in time. Like, the reason why I booked Baby Boy, I auditioned for a movie called Freedom Song about the first sit-ins in Mississippi. Now, I had a great audition. I was the king of the audition room, man. So I always, personality and I'm auditioning myself. It's like, hey, you guys want to work with me? It'll be great. I'm a fun guy, fun loving, that type of thing. I had the lines down. Everything was great. And like, it was politics hit, right? Because I left. They were like, thanks for coming. We love you, blah, blah, blah. Again, I know I booked that. And they're like, nope, they gave it to someone else. I was like, damn. A couple weeks later, they called me and said, remember that movie that you auditioned for? Yeah, Freedom Song. Yeah. They started filming it already. When are we talking about this? I said, well, they want you to come do the role because another actor who they cast for the role over me got into a fight at a nightclub. Got punched in his eye. No BS. Got punched in his eye. Showed up on set the next day, and the guys that beat him up drove by the set and did like a gun gesture. And he said, I'm out of here. Jumped on a plane and flew back to LA. It filmed out in like North Carolina. Some craziness, right? So they called me like, sorry, Omar. We should have cast you in the first place. And I'm acting, I'm doing what they're like, man, you are killing it. I'm like, am I? You should have cast me in the first place. Well, the wild thing is, John Singleton, another late great, an icon, saw me in this role and said, you know what, I have a script for you called Baby Boy. I want you to read it and come audition for me in 3 months, and we'll see what you got. And you know how that went.
Of course.
And again, and it's funny, I got all these audition stories. And that, after I finished auditioning with John, and John was like, hey, you look great. You lost a lot of weight. You shaved your head. You look good, man. Thanks for coming in. And then a month passed. A whole month passed. I got a phone call. Guess what? You got the part. I'm like, the part for what? They're like, remember John Singleton movie? Yeah, last month. He said, yeah, you got the role.
Did John know of you at all from Boys in the Hood days with your brother?
I don't know if he remembered. Right. You know what I mean? But he did. I mean, he knew who I was. He called my mother specifically, and he said, Mrs. Gooding, I made one of your sons a movie star. I would like to make your other son a movie star as well. Give me his number. I got a script I want him to read. So yeah, he knew of me, but he's a genius at looking at people and saying, okay, yeah, he always worked with unknowns.
Oh yeah.
Or people from other genres. You know what I mean? Actors, singers,
right?
Or comedians, and
or making music, or turning musicians into actors, like
musicians,
Cube and Tyrese,
rappers. You know what I mean? Tyrese, Ice Cube.
What was it like working with Tyrese? So you guys still have a relationship?
Yeah, we're cool. At the time, we weren't. We were both alpha males, and we butted heads a lot. It was a thing where we approached the roles in two different ways. Like the role I had a lot to prove. I had a chip on my shoulder, and I was just like, I was different then in the sense of I wasn't all about camaraderie and let's all go out, hang out, and bond and this and that. I was like, look, I got a job to do. Right. I'm going home. I'll see you tomorrow. He's like, no, come over, hang out at my house. I'm like, no, I'll see you on set. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then we butted heads on our like one time, like we got together, like literally got in each other's face and was like, well, what you want to do? Like, I'll see you on set.
Right,
and then. Again, I'm an actor. You know what I'm saying? So when you watch it, you can't tell. Like, I didn't. Must be best friends, thick as thieves.
Right,
but at the time, we just was, he was doing his thing. I was doing my thing. I was in a relationship. The girl in the movie was actually my girlfriend at the time.
Oh, really? Okay.
My girlfriend at the, okay. They said cut. We just kept going, that type of thing. So I was like, it was just me and her. I wasn't worried about everybody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, but me and Taraji were close. Me and Ving Rhames worked together again.
Legendary cat, AJ Johnson.
AJ Johnson.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, everybody was it was a real treat to be a part of that.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Let me ask you, what is your favorite part of acting?
Being able to kind of step outside of yourself and pretend you're like another life.
For sure.
That's what's the fun part about it.
Right.
You play a lawyer, like what would this be? You play a gangster, like what if I get to just shoot people and get away with it? What if a football star? That was, Baby Boy changed my life. It changed the trajectory of my career because it was hard at the time to be taken seriously for dramatic roles coming off of 90s sitcom television.
Right, of course.
Especially as a black actor, they just see you as, oh, Mo, this and that, Mo, facial expression, all this kind of, you know what I mean? So after they saw Baby Boy, they were like, oh yeah, bring him in. Let's you know what I mean? But, since I started at 9 years old, by the time, it was a snowball effect for me. So Wild and Crazy Kids was age 12 to 15. Now I'm in high school.
Right.
Immediately following that, I booked a series called Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Oh, love that show. Yep.
From age 15 to 20.
Wow.
And then one of the executive producers from that started a show called Smart Guy.
All right.
And then that ran for 3 more years. Next thing you know, I'm 24 years old.
Yeah, right.
And then I get a call about Baby Boy. So during high school, I wanted to play football. I wanted to play tight end. I wanted to run out, bam, you know what I'm saying? I said football. So I showed up very first day of high school. You know, we're on the field and the coach is giving a speech. It's all about dedication. Practice starts today. I know this is the first day of high school, but if you really want it, you better be at practice today. I was like, shit, I gotta work today.
Right, yep.
You know, I gotta be on set right after this. And then I got, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I told the coach that, and he was just like, well, good luck with your acting. Obviously, that's what you want to do. I was like, damn, I came to as many practices as I could, but you know, I never got any action. So flash forward, it was around probably 2003. I got to audition to play a star running back in a football, National Football League. Well, it wasn't NFL, technically. And it was a series called Playmakers, which showed on ESPN.
Oh, wow.
And it was the hottest show on the planet, playing on ESPN
Right.
for 1 year.
Wow.
Okay.
It only went 1 year. You look it up, check it out. It was a phenomenal show. The people that saw it were like, oh my God, like people that, you know, it was only 1 year. So it was like, you either know it or you don't. You'd be like,
Right.
what? Playmakers? But it was amazing because for me, it was a dream come true. Like I said, I always wanted to play football. I not only played a football player, but I played the head dude.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
All running back. So it was filmed out in Canada. Toronto, actually. So we used the CFL, and we knew right from the jump. Like we were doing interviews with ESPN and Travis Scott. All these guys. Just like, look, bro, you can't say NFL in any of your interviews because the NFL, they're against the show. They hate everything about it because we were telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about steroid use and drug use on the field and the corrupt owners and this and that. Like everything that we now know. Back in 2003, you know what I mean? So before everything started hitting the fan, so NFL was just like, hell no. The ratings were insane. We made millions and millions of dollars for ESPN, but then they had to weigh millions of dollars on the TV show or $1 billion NFL contract.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It was a no-brainer. Like, nah. Then it was like, why didn't somebody else pick it up? It was such a good show. Well, nobody wanted to be, tangled with NFL and risk not having that NFL contract. I don't care for what TBS, whoever it was. No, they weren't going to do it. So that's why I didn't go any further with people that saw it. But it was a really good show. It was ahead of its time. I mean, cinematically, the way it was filmed, it was fast-paced, edgy, and it seemed like something that should have been on HBO. Like it was so like, oh my God, naked people in locker rooms, drugs. It was insane. It was insane. Dude was doing it. My character was, shooting up at halftime.
Wow.
Coming out and performing. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But it was solid. And it was just after Baby Boy. I had my cornrows. But oh man, it was dope. And I didn't realize how big a deal it was because we were out in Canada filming it. And we watched like episode 1 or 2 while we were out there, and we go to the bars and So then once that caught on, it was literally like I was like a star out there playing a star, and then I was so popular that it was like, man, like it's really real life. Like I'm, you know what I mean? I'm getting paid like an athlete. I'm, pretending to be an athlete, except I don't have to take the hits.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I went out to Vegas, dude, one time, and it was insane. Right after it ended, and I still didn't realize how big a deal it was until I walked through the casino. And one guy went, oh my God, my character's name was DH. He said, look, it's DH. I was like, yeah, that's me. And then it was pandemonium. Like I had to get escorted out by security. It was nuts.
Wow.
Nuts. How big that show was.
What do you get recognized for the most? Sweet Pea, Mo?
Now, yeah, definitely Baby Boy.
Yeah.
It's shown so much. It's
of course.
And crazy thing, like it depends on where I am. When I travel, a lot of people have Disney.
Of course.
There's more people watch Disney than BET. Believe it or not.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and BET shows Baby Boy 500 times a week.
Man, for sure.
The edited version of the movie is more legendary than the
which was so funny because I was doing a movie in Thailand. I was out in Thailand for 13 weeks. And technology wasn't what it is now. If you have to do voiceovers, you can do it from your phone.
Right.
You can do it online. But back then, if they needed you to do voiceovers, you had to be in the studio. And I was literally on the other side of the planet in Thailand for 13 weeks, and they were doing the edits for Baby Boy.
Oh man,
These edits. So I was like, no, I can't be there. So when you see it, some Spanish cat that's doing
that's funny. That's great.
I was like, he sounds just like Omar. I was like, he's pretty sure he's Hispanic.
Going back to Smart Guy, I know our producer Max has a question for you about that show.
Mm-hmm.
Omar, well, first I just want to say thank you, because I was born in '94, so I turned 30 on Sunday. So growing up on Smart Guy that's my okay.
That's what's up. I grew you up. I graduated high school in '94. So thanks for making me so old.
I wanted to know, because I've seen the interview, so I tried to think of a question that maybe you haven't been asked yet. The episode where you are performing "Don't Hate Me for Being a Dog," did you write that rap?
Absolutely.
Let's go. Let's go.
I don't think there's ever been a rap that I've spit that I didn't write until very recently, honestly. And I met a cat who's is a young cat, man. His name is Larry Murphy. And if you get a chance to listen to some of Larry Murphy's music, he's phenomenal young talent. He's going to be a big deal in a minute, man. I was just happy to bump into him a few years back. And we did a song called Life of the Party for the soundtrack of a movie called 17 Days. You can find all this online. It's all available. And last year, he had an idea for a song called This Is Art. And he sent me the beat. I was like, it was dope. He said he had the hook already, so it was fire. And he said, write a verse. I wrote my verse. He's like, oh, man, bars. So he wrote his verse. I wrote my verse. And he says, I have an idea for the third verse where we're actually rapping out the scene from Baby Boy.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna write something. He's like, no. I'm gonna write it, OG. I'm gonna write it. I was like, yeah, I don't really do anybody else's lyrics, my dude. You know what I'm saying? But he sent it to me, and I was like, say less. So if you get a chance, you can download "This Is Art" by Larry Mervin and Omar Gooding.
Okay.
For the little inside information. But yeah, that "Don't Hate Me for Being a Dog." I remember that clear as day, man. I remember they said, all right, we got, you don't rap. You know what I'm saying? You gonna act like you play the guitar, but you gonna rap.
Yeah.
And get your verse done. And I wrote it. I gave it to him. I don't think I had to do any rewrites on it because I knew it was television, so I had to,
I think I'm almost to that episode on my rewatch. I'm almost there.
Say it again?
I'm almost to that episode on my rewatch. I'm almost there.
Man, that was one of the best written shows I was ever to. And it's kind of funny.
Apologies.
Because, oh, no, scared. I thought that was my phone.
Nope, you're good.
It was just flawless, man. The writing, it was the least amount of work I ever had to do. Like when I did Hang with Mr. Cooper, I learned so much from Mark Curry. That was my first mentor, man. And he was so brilliant at improv, at going off script. We would all get the same script, and then we get to the table read, and that was where the fun would begin.
Right.
You would see who would read what's on the page and what stuff they would kind of embellish, and I would learn how to just add my own little thing. And with Hang with Mr. Cooper, I had to climb the ladder. So funny about that show, man. It started off in the beginning where I auditioned for the presentation, which comes before the pilot. They write the script, they cast it, and you're in the presentation. I play Irvin, boom, boom, boom. Then it gets sold, and then we shot the pilot.
Right.
Then when the pilot happened, we got picked up. Then we went to series. Series, you usually have 20-something episodes. Back in, it was like 25, 26 episodes. So if you're in all episodes produced, then you have 13 episodes.
Right.
I was basically reoccurring on the first 3 seasons because I only was 7 out of 13.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know that. I wasn't in every episode of Hang with Mr. Cooper. So the first 3 seasons, I was only, wasn't until the last 2 seasons that I became a series regular.
On the opening credits.
Yeah, so I had to just kind of climb the ladder. I'd find a little something here, I'd put something extra on it. I'd have a line that's not meant to be funny, so I'd find a way to make it funny. And then, that's how it grew. So I'd always had to add my thing in Hang with Mr. Cooper. Smart Guy was effortless. Like what we saw on the page, I was like, this is perfect.
Yep.
Hood safaris and all that type of stuff. Them lines were so brilliant that it was like one of the easiest jobs for me. Because people were like, man, you ain't even acting. That's you. Real life. I'm like, yeah, I know, man. It's a great gig. Wish it lasts forever.
What was your COVID lockdown experience like?
COVID COVID was interesting because it was the beginning of me, as if I didn't have enough tricks up my sleeve and things in my bag, me finding new avenues. You know, at first it was just like everyone else, the uncertainty. You know, there were ups and downs, right? So I had just had my second son, right? 40 years old, I started having kids. 40, right? 40.
Yep.
2 boys, driving, woo! I'm tired and young at the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time. I don't know what happens. But they keep me going, you know what I'm saying? They keep me youthful. But you know, so we're all in the house and we're learning to kind of take advantage of things we took for granted, right? Going on walks and just being around each other.
Right.
Not so much y'all we're all watching TV or working on this or that. Just being a family. So that part was awesome. We went on walks every day. You know, we're just noticing things. Damn, I didn't know that. Wow, is this on our block? Like we didn't know these houses exist and meeting neighbors and being real friends. You know, so that was cool and that was cute for about a month. As the second month rolled around, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was scary, you know, but being a parent is different because you have to you can't be scared. You can't be like you can't be vulnerable. You can't show that to the kids because they feed off your energy. So it was always everything was positive and what are we doing today? Oh, we're gonna go on another adventure. Walk around the block, you know.
Put your mask on.
Put your mask, put your mask on, you know. And so it was that. And then my journey began on going from in front of the screen to behind the screen more. I had auditioned I wasn't auditioned actually. I got offered a movie called AM Radio by Ricky Burchell, who had just finished a film with another actor, and they got into a little fallout or for whatever reason. So he was like, well, I have the script that I wrote for him. Who can I get to play this role? And I read the script and I was like, wow, this script is amazing. It is about a man who's a bit of a recluse. He works at an AM radio station and he's kind of mad at the world because he used to work at an FM radio station. He had a girlfriend that became a big star. They had a big fight. He had a meltdown on the air, and but he was very popular. So he got a new show on AM radio, you know. So, and he deals with mental health. And like I said, he's a recluse and he's an alcoholic and so forth and so on. I'm like, this is a powerful piece. I love it. So after we got all the negotiations and everything done, we're getting ready. I'm like, oh, it's going to be my next big thing here, boy. And COVID hit. Right. So when COVID hit, it shut everything down, of course. The investors backed out, everybody blah, blah, blah. So after a month or two sitting on this and everybody just kind of sitting around, the director called me. We kind of stayed in touch and he was just like, yeah, I really think we could get this done if we kind of cut out all the middlemen and all and scaled everything down and then don't worry about a huge production. What do you need to get this done? And I'll let you know what I need. And let's see if we can find a middle ground, And again, we're itching to get out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And,
of course.
And it was such a powerful script. And that year was, what a year, man.
Yeah.
What a year.
Man.
A huge, I'm a Laker. You understand me?
Yep.
And we lose Kobe.
Oh yeah, that's I knew the year was going to be horrible after that.
How it just gonna go? It didn't get any better, did it?
No, that was January. It started January off like that,
right? And then we had the COVID hit, and then we had George Floyd.
Oh yeah,
it was just like you're just waiting for the planet to explode,
Right.
And so I decided to dive into this film, and it was such a release. It was such a release for me. If you get a chance to watch it, I tried. It's one of those things too that it's like I did the film, it's out there. Every time someone sees it, their mind is blown because they're just like, "Where the hell? How come I haven't heard of this? Where's the publicity for it?" Blah blah blah. It was in a time where there was none of that really going on. And every time I tried to mention it, and I go on my socials, I'll be like, AM radio. People are like, oh, he's got an AM radio show. It's like, it was the hardest thing to promote. Even the picture, when you look at it, you see AM radio. When I got headphones on, they're like, it's got to be his radio station.
Oh my God.
Listening to AM radio. It's just not going to happen. Every time I turn on AM radio, it's 710 to check out the Lakers.
That's funny.
But I'm slowly but sure, like, it's been in a couple festivals, it's winning here and there, and so every time somebody watches it, it's insane, and it's all me.
Okay, yeah, well,
all me.
I definitely want to check it out.
Oh yeah, it's one of those films. It's for my fans. It was a big release for me. when the George Floyd information came out, as a black man, you read it, you see a little clip of it, you hear about it, and you just kind of go, again,
Right.
and you kind of
course.
desensitized to it. But until you see it, you don't fully get it, and that's kind of what changed the world.
Right.
You know, I think on top of everything. I mean, the fact that it happened during COVID and everybody slowed down and had a chance to look and go, "Shit, this really happens."
Right.
And we're getting mad. We're going, "Yeah, it always happens."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I remember I felt like a coward because I never wanted to watch the video. I just was like, I know it happened and I know it sucks, but I got to focus on something else. And I'm getting ready to do some of the more emotional scenes, some of the more challenging scenes as an actor in this film, and CNN was on. And I remember it was on and it was up,
Yep.
and I was like cooking in the kitchen. So I was in there, but I was out there by myself. I was engrossed in this role. And I remember it was on, and I was like, oh shit. I caught watching it, and I heard him cry for his mom and how he died. And I was just like, it tore me up, man. I remember I called my mom and we were talking, and it wasn't just like, "Mom, I love you." No, I'm just like, what in the fuck is wrong with this woman? I don't curse on my mom, but it was one of them things where we got into like a political argument about stuff. It was weird. Then I
Right.
called my brother, and we talked for like 2 hours. And he's trying to just be like, "Bro, that's just how the world is." And I was like, "Don't tell me how the world is. I know how the world is. I'm just saying." Just, you know what I mean?
Of course.
And then the next day, I had to film these scenes, and little spoiler alert: I've never cried on camera. Never. I've been emotional in scenes. I remember I auditioned for this film, this show called Touched by an Angel.
I remember that show.
And to go even further back, to give you guys, I'm gonna give you some gems here. What really, when we were on the road, and we were homeless. We lived in a hotel, and we had several hotels, and we had this large Great Dane. We had a huge dog with us, and he got sick on the road, and we had him in some kennels and whatnot. And they called us one time and they said, "Look, your dog is it. We're about to put him to sleep." And my mom said, "Don't you put our dog to sleep. You take him to that hotel. You drop him off. We're on our way to get our dog." And they said, "All right, we'll leave him and in your hotel." And they let him in the hotel while we weren't there, dropped him off. So we're coming down the hallway, and I'm calling his name. We open the door. He's dead.
Oh.
He's dead, and he's laying near our shoes, near the door, because he's our smell. This is the saddest shit ever.
Right.
It was raining. My brother had to wrap him up in like a bed sheet, carry him down, and throw him in the dumpster. My mom's calling my dad on the phone. I'm in the car with my sister, and I'm crying. And she tells me, "Don't cry. Let's be strong for mom." And I like stopped crying, right? After that, 10 years later, every time I try to do an emotional scene, I would get emotional and would about to come, and it would just cut off.
Right. Yep.
Like I just couldn't cry. It was the weirdest thing. I mean, real life things happen. Fine. But when I'm acting,
Right.
I couldn't. It's like I had a kill switch in there. It's like, thanks, sis. I can't get a, So with this film, it was such a year.
Right.
If you had
course.
anything you needed to get off your chest, you know what I mean? And I remember when we were filming the big emotional scene, I remember saying to the director, I said, "Look, I've been an actor for a long time. I don't know what's about to happen when you say action. This is a lot of lines. The most lines I've ever had to memorize. He just has a monologue because he's on the radio and he's talking to people on the phone, and he just monologues out and then gets really emotional and all that." And I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. But make sure y'all are recording and make sure everything's right. Because when you're an actor for a long time, this could be anything. You could start working and get to going and boom, and be like, "And cut. What the hell's wrong? Sorry, one of the lights went out.
Right.
The sound wasn't right. The camera wasn't in focus. Sorry, there was this. But there's a million things that can go wrong when you're filming." So I'm like, y'all just run the check it 3 times. Make sure everything's good. When he say action, I don't know what's going to happen. And he said action, first take, boom.
Yep.
It was raw.
Wow.
When
That's
he
dope.
said cut, everybody was clapping. They were just
There
like,
you go.
"Oh my God, like what the hell was that?" Like this was like the first time they see me. Like I've been at, we're doing like a couple weeks of filming already. And then by the time that shit hit, they were just like, "Who is this person?" And it wasn't like I need a minute. I walked away and cried. No. They said and cut. And I was like, "Whoa, wow, that was fun." You know what I mean? They were like, "All right." Yeah, I felt good.
Keep it professional.
Oh, it was therapy, bro. They were like, "You got another take?" I'm like, "I hope so. Let's try it again."
Right.
Second take, just like the first. It was just like,
Okay.
and every time we did another take, I was able to just tap in. And I think a lot of it obviously had to do with the year we were going
Of course.
But it was so raw, man. And when I watched it back, I actually, I was able to be an editor as well and a producer on the film. So that's what I'm saying with how COVID went, very long-winded, but the COVID experience for me culminated in this film. And they sent me the first edit of it, and I was just like, we need to change this. Can we slide this around? Maybe add some music here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, damn, I need to be on the editing floor here. I have a future on this side of the camera. And then when we saw the finished product, after I had given my notes and adjustments, and then I was just like, mwah, love this film.
Sweet.
So yeah, if you want to treat, I mean, it's got humor, it's got laughter, it's definitely got drama, as I just spilled. And it's got a real fun ending. So yeah, man, AM radio when you get some time. But yeah, that kind of culminated my thing. And then every time something happens in the world, I open up a new chapter, a new bag, man.
Yeah.
We went on strike.
Oh yeah.
I just finished filming a series in Chicago called Saturdays about the roller skating culture in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
They taught me how to skate. We learned how to JB slide, all that. We did 15 episodes. It was long. It was a long year out there. Then we came back, the strike hits. I wake up in the morning, I never forget. They said, we on strike. I said, no, we ain't. They didn't ask me.
Right.
What you talking about? I'm about to hit the road. So I started doing comedy. Now I'm doing stand-up comedy, headlining all over the country. It has been a hell of a journey. So it's like every time something happens, I'll be like, I got to open up something. So wait, you got music? I got an album I dropped last year called Succession.
Okay.
I got a stand-up tour that I'm on, a We Out Here comedy tour. I'm headlining, and I'm taping my first special in May at the Atlanta Comedy Corner. For Cinco de Mayo weekend.
There we go.
Yeah, man, I won't sleep.
Congrats, man.
I wanted to ask you about Jason Weaver because I've been a fan of him forever. From Lion King to Little Michael Jackson, and just what was it like working with him on Smart Guy? And do you guys still have a relationship as well?
Yeah, that's my little brother, man. And the cool thing about it is, it's so crazy too. So we did Smart Guy, 75 episodes of that. One of the funnest times of my life. We would just work and then drive to Vegas and then show up at work. And we had the funnest time. But that wasn't the first time I worked with him. He did a show called Thea, and I was reappearing on that.
Yep.
And the wildest thing, man, I've told this story a million times, well, few hundred times, that I told you guys about how I got Baby Boy, John Singleton, seeing me in this film. This is crazy. The other day, and if you follow me on Instagram, you can see this. The other day, someone sent me a clip of that very film. And I said, oh, I've been looking for a clip from this film. It's called Freedom Song on TNT about the first sit-ins in Mississippi.
Right.
And I'm at the lunch counter with another actor. Guess who that other actor is?
Is that Jason?
Jason.
Oh, man.
When I saw that, I went, oh, damn. I forgot Jason was in that movie. I keep telling the story like, you forgetting somebody? Are y'all beefing? No. It's just been a long life. It's been a lot. And it's like, it feels like it's just beginning, which is the fun stuff, especially when you have kids. Like, whoop, start over.
Right.
But yeah, man, him and I, undeniable chemistry. Great cat to work with, especially as a best friend scenario. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because we had like the same energy, but there was enough jokes for both of us because he had a whole different lane. He was like the pretty boy this, and I was like, oh. And it was weird too because the pilot and Smart Guy, we were rivals. I was the bully. Who's this little kid? And he was like, let me stick up for my little brother. And then they were like, these guys have great chemistry. We became best friends. And then that's how they just rewrote it from there on. I was like, well, it's good. Marcus and Mo. It was supposed to be TJ and then the big brother and then the sister and then the bully that he worries about at school. Then it became Marcus and Mo.
No, you don't give off bully energy at all.
Right. It's like the first you got to look at the pilot. The pilot, I was like, who's this little kid? Right. And that went away right away. And it was like, but he's funny. Yeah, they're friends. You know what I mean? And it was all good.
That's what's up. We'll get you out of here on this. I know Max had one more question. I think it's a perfect ender. So,
one more question, sir. Well, I guess real quick, we're out here in Denver, so to your Lakers, I just want to say, go Nuggets.
Let's go.
I was going to say, it's good you end with that. You led with that. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Fun.
Oh, man.
But I wanted to ask you, what's something that you know now that you wish you knew when you just started?
That's a good question. That's a long question. Was a long-winded answer. like, what would I tell a younger me? I would say, because a lot of things, that I preach to these young kids, it's kind of what my motto was, don't settle, don't compromise, and that's easy. But the issue that I had basically with Tyrese on Baby Boy came because I kind of approached it differently. I could have done my job and still been friendly. I wasn't very friendly. Like I said, the role was this, this tough guy, this gangster, who's misunderstood and frustrated. So I had to kind of become that, to me, on set. That's what I thought I had to do.
Right.
When I left, I was fine. I was having fun. I was a girlfriend and a house full of homies. It was a great time. But I could have done both. I was like, if you're an actor, act. Go ahead and just, enjoy the moment, enjoy those new relationships. Because a lot of times, and this is the advice I like to give people when they're just starting out in the business, when you go into an audition room, and doesn't even have to apply to acting. It goes anywhere. If you're interviewing for a job to work with people want to know that you're someone that they would like to be around for a long, extended period. So there's instances where you'll see movies that aren't that good because somebody was hired because they're likable, but maybe not the best qualified.
Right.
I won't give them specifics. I don't have names or examples. I just know the truth.
Right.
I just know that some people are like, "Oh, she's pretty," but oof. Oof, goodness gracious, and some guys are real good at auditioning themselves and king of the room, but it's like I want to hang around with them. So you have to learn to audition. You have to learn to be likable, to show sides of you that people admire or that people just want to be around. You know what I mean?
Right.
Good hygiene, smell good, bring gifts, whatever it is. You have to get that across to them, and you'll kind of go farther in life. I mean, it didn't hinder me that bad. I mean, because I felt like I always had a television career. I probably would have had a bigger movie career, but I was always a television actor. So I was like, I ain't really worried about these movie people. I'm gonna just go book another TV show. Which I did. I've been on tons of TV shows, series regular. Some of them lasted long, some of them went shorter. I did a show called Family Time. I did 91 episodes of that. You know what I mean? Then I did a show like Barbershop the series, one season.
Right.
So it just depends. But that was always my bread and butter. So again, I would just say, you know what, Omar, go ahead and be a little friendlier. Just go, you can play the role. There's a lot of things, especially that are coming up now in the news about people and how they hung out and after hours and this and that, And I would give advice to people, say, you can be friendly without going up to the hotel room. You can meet them in the lobby. You just don't go upstairs. Yeah. And my thing was just like, I'm not gonna hang out with them all. I'm gonna just go back to the crib. I hung out with people that I knew could fight. And had my back. And if we broke out and something go down, I know this dude can fight.
There you go.
I don't know if Urkel can throw hands. I don't know about him. But I know that my boys can fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if this dude, you work with him? Yeah, cool. But did you go hang out? No. Pop off. I want to make sure we scrapping. I know he got my back. You know what I mean? So.
Yes, sir. Sure. Well, it's been an absolute dream come true. Pleasure to have you on our show, man. I was the one that was communicating with you just from that standpoint. I just want to thank you for it's real easy when you reach out to some of the people you grew up on, some of your icons, and get brushed off or just don't even read. But you kind of stay consistent with me, you just really went out of your way to give us your time, and we're grateful.
Thank you.
We're grateful. Absolutely. I didn't even charge y'all.
Right.
But that's love, man. I appreciate y'all for your time, man. Y'all keep doing what you do, man.
Yes, sir. Omar Gooding, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, you have a good one, bro.
Thank you.
You too, bro. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.